Jaehwan is happy. After thinking for a short 30-second, he has come to a perfect solution. Whoever it is, it does not matter. If they manage to defeat him in a one-on-one match, they will be given the position of Fortress Master. This makes Kaiman, the leader of the Southern Sea Clan, laugh, as this is quite a refreshing change for a new Fortress Master. He asks if there are any conditions to this, and Jaehwan explains that sure, there is one. The period of this will be 1 month, and if they all fail in taking his position, every single one of them will become a part of the Abyss Expedition Squad that will be departing in 2 months. Yurin thinks that he believed in Jaehwan quite a lot. Since he saved Gorgon from the Forbidden Heaven clan, he already recognized him as the next Fortress Master. Even if he made those utterly ridiculous declarations, like uniting chaos and all that, he simply observed, even when he felt uneasy. Because in the end, he is still the Fortress Master after all. Surely he wouldn't do anything that would harm the fortress, right? Well, that is what he thought, until Juhire came in screaming that things are starting to get out of control, while he was having his morning routine. Having had enough, Yurin stormed the office with extreme anger and asked Jaehwan directly, just how long is he intending to ignore his position? He walks up to him, but only finds Carlton in his place, who was supposed to be in the medical ward. This enrages Yurin even further, and he screams for Jaehwan, which can be heard even outside. Below the fortress, Jaehwan uses a few statues that are shaped like Carlton for training, which Chung-hyo finds to be a waste, as many ladies would want to possess something like this, especially those from the ward that took care of him. Jaehwan notes that doesn't matter right now. Instead, he should check out the new technique that he created. Jaehwan starts gathering green energy around him, which intrigues Chung-hyo. The pose he has while doing the preparation is definitely softer, and looking at how he guided the sword, it must have been inspired by his slash. Since that is the case, the technique name should be Chung-hyo Thrust, right? Jaehwan asks if he wants to get thrusted with the technique, as he will after hearing what he just said. Chung-hyo is angry at his retort, and notes that he's been getting more and more arrogant while unsheathing his sword. Jaehwan doesn't give him the time to do anything and unleashes the technique at him, which hits the wall above them. Chung-hyo is about to start tearing into him, but that's when something heavy falls from the ground, the Lighting God clan leader, Woon Yong. A few minutes ago, he and his subordinates were crawling through the basement and were standing right above Jaehwan. Yong got ready to attack, as he wanted to become the Fortress Master. Even if people thought that assassination was cowardly, to him, it is the truest form of combat. That's when he got blasted by Jaehwan's technique and put out of service. Eventually he wakes up, and Chung-hyo immediately jumps in his face, which spooks him. Yong asks what he's doing here, and Chung-hyo notes that he was always a small little weasel, so he knew the day would come when he would do something dumb like this. Yong asks who that young guy is, and Chung-hyo tells him that is the new Fortress Master. Yong notes that all of this just doesn't make sense, as he hasn't even heard of someone like him in Chaos, or even in the Almighty Land. Chung-hyo sighs and explains that indeed, nothing makes sense. Everything about that man doesn't make a lick of sense. Yong is surprised that he would say that, but also that this didn't count, and he wants a rematch, as he still has some fight left in him. Jaehwan tells him to come forward, as they will fight once again, if he wishes. Yong charges in extremely fast, but Jaehwan dodges, which makes Yong smile, and use a spinning attack. Jaehwan again dodges, which annoys Yong. He wasn't going to use this technique, but now he feels compelled to. He gathers all of his energy into a large ball, and thinks that he will destroy this guy in one strike. Unfortunately for him, Jaehwan teleports behind him, and notes that technique takes way too long to charge up. And so, the first competitor is defeated. Later he reports back to them, after telling everyone that he, the Lighting God clan leader, barely lost to him, just like they ordered him. Chung-hyo congratulates him, as now, there will be a lot of strong people who will challenge this new Fortress Master. It has been exactly 100 years since they got where they are, in one of the clans of the Almighty Land. The Yuun clan, Yoon Yong, the now possessor of the Lightning God art, was but a slave, to be abused and messed with whenever his master's fancy. This happened right after he cleared the tower, and his comrades also suffered the same fate, to be slaves for the rest of their lives. However, one by one, his friends either were commanded to fight in battlefields, get sold, or simply die from the abuse. After 100 years, Most of the comrades that he grew to cherish passed away, in his head and in real life. Despite all of this, though, he survived, and after 100 years of complete obedience, he was officially announced as a servant of the clan. But on the same day that he was chosen to be a servant, something inside of him screamed to defy his masters no matter what. That voice was right, as he couldn't bear to live like this, not even for a second. And because of this, he betrayed the trust he had garnered over 100 years and went into the secret manual vault of the Jaehwan clan. That is where he found and stole the lighting god art, and when he learned it, his body seemed to have regressed to its younger days, and he felt invigorated. This was the secret knowledge that the Jaehwan clan tried to hide, this immense power. Naturally, things didn't go so well afterwards, as he was chased for well over 20 years due to this theft, which actually led to him dying like a dog. But on the bright side, he got summoned to chaos and was able to become the 9th of the 10 clans. However, this man, who has yet to live for even 100 years, simply became the fortress master of chaos. Additionally, he also made Chung Hyo smile, something which you do not see from him, as he saw true despair when he went on the Abyss expedition. Still, despite all of this, he is still pouting, as it seems kind of unfair. Chung Hyo notes that he got lucky, as he managed to meet him before he experienced true despair. His face is basically screaming denial about that man, but he will tell him something which might change his mind. 1 week before he arrived, Gorgon was almost taken over by the Forbidden Heaven clan. This surprises Yong quite a bit, and he waits to hear more. Chung Hyo explains that he doesn't know how all of the personal insight of Gorgon was on their side, but it seemed like they were preparing to occupy Gorgon for a long, long while. Before they could do anything too hurtful, however, Jaehwan saved all of Gorgon with a mighty attack, and even fended off the Soul King, who descended down here by possessing the body of the Fortress Master. That is all that the current Fortress Master has done. Yong is shocked by all of these mighty achievements, and notes that he should have told him earlier, instead of letting him get beaten like that. That's when somebody busts through the door, and demands to fight the Gorgon Fortress Master. This is the Fire King clan leader Kang Hwang, and apologizes for coming here accompanied by the Sea clan leader. But he can go first, right? Jaehwan notes that there is not need for that. They should both come at the same time, as he was in the midst of practicing his new technique, so he would rather not waste time. This shocks both of the challengers, and Chung Hyo says that things are going to get messy real quick today. Hwang steps forwards and hopes that he doesn't regret what he just said. He charges in with all of his might and unleashes a flame attack upon Jaehwan, which he dodges quite easily. The attack hits the wall, which makes Chung Hyo scream at both. They both clash swords, and Hwang asks if he is actually scared of the flames that are coming from his sword. Jaehwan denies this and prepares a mighty punch, which is engulfed in flame the moment it hits the sword. Hwang barely manages to block, giving Jaehwan the opportunity to attack, with some final words, those being that he should tell him later if he is scared of his thrust. Jaehwan ends the fight by creating a gigantic hole in the wall, which he most likely sent Hwang through. The Sea Clan Master puts out the remaining flames that were strewn about and notes that Meathead will be fine. Jaehwan asks why he didn't fight with him, and the Sea Clan Master explains that he simply hates the heat, but now they will have plenty of room and time to fight. Even the lights in the room are put out, and they both stare at each other. Jaehwan thinks that up until now, he fought electricity and fire, but now there is water too. This reminds him of a certain monster-catching game, but nonetheless, this guy seems to be stronger than the other two. He charges in with a thrust, but Kaiman blocks it, and then parries the attack, giving both of them space. Jaehwan thinks that this guy is quite different from the others, as he is just not charging in like a maniac, but actually calculating his every move. He tries to hit Jaehwan, however. He dodges swiftly, and raises himself into the air, where he has ample room to unleash a bigger attack. Before it can hit, however, the Sea Clan Master dodges, although barely. He stares at the rubble that Jaehwan created with a single attack, and notes that if he was hit by something like that, he would have been utterly crushed. With that, he gives up the fight, and Jaehwan asks why, as he has yet to show him his full power. Kaiman explains that, even without that, the result is pretty obvious if one thinks about it, but since he lost and all, they should talk about the Abyss expedition. Hwang comes back from his adventure inside of the walls, and screams at Yong for lying about Jaehwan's strength, as he got his ass beat because of it. Chung Hyo notes that he should blame himself for losing, not Yong, which makes him even more mad. Yong mocks him lightly, saying that, since they both lost the fight, they are required to join the Abyss expedition, without any fuss. Kamen explains that he came here with the intention of joining the expedition in the first place, which surprises Yong, but Hwang knows exactly why. Kamen was the closest friend of the previous fortress master, Amel, and because he was weak, he wasn't able to join the expedition when it first happened. When the expedition returned home, without any fruits, and beaten to a pulp, with most of them being just gone, he was the first to witness the fall of the greats. That happened 900 years ago, and it seems that, ever since he saw that, Kamen has been waiting for an opportunity like this, while patiently sharpening his sword. He notes that he was intending to go into the Abyss in the near future anyways, so this seems like the perfect opportunity to do it, for him at least. Chung Hyo tries to say something, but knows that this man is filled with ambition, and instead asks Hwang what he intends to do. He knows full well that he lost, and he is a man, and has already come to terms with having to go. Chung Hyo also asks Yong about his choice, and he says that he just decided. That's when he suddenly bolts towards Jaehwan, taking everyone by surprise. Chung Hyo tries to warn him to not fight that man again. Has he really lost his senses? Jaehwan gets ready to attack, but instead of doing that, Yong bows down with all of his might, which confuses the other people even more. Yong explains that, from this moment forth, he, the Lighting God clan leader, Woon Yong, swears utter loyalty to him, the Gorgon fortress master. Jaehwan stares at him for a second, and notes that there is no need for him to do all of this. Yong doesn't stop, however, and explains that he would still like to do it, and will even swear his loyalty, even if he has to die. Jaehwan tells him that he is already dead though, which makes him want to cry, but continues. Even if that is true, he asks him to accept him as one of his family members. He would be fine with just being a mere captain, if he has to. Chung Hyo wonders what family he is talking about, while Yong promises to not steal secret martial manuals, something which he doesn't have a good record with. Chung Hyo tells him that, first and foremost, he is the Lighting God clan leader. So how can he say all of this, when he has a clan to take care of? With a defeated voice, Yong explains that his clan doesn't exist anymore in chaos. With him included, there are only 7 people who managed to barely survive. The Lighting God clan was utterly annihilated 1 week ago. Chung Hyo ponders the situation deeply, and asks Yong if it really is true that the clan is gone, which he confirms. Chung Hyo starts summarizing his situation as of now. His clan was basically done for, and so it happened that an opportunity arose, in the form of an one-on-one challenge to choose the new fortress master. With a mindset that told him to risk everything, he decided to come here, and try to become the fortress master in any way possible. However, when he actually fought Jaehwan, he lost so pathetically that it isn't worth describing. His clan is gone, he can't become fortress master, and now when he doesn't have anywhere else to go, he wants them to accept him. Isn't that right? Yong confirms that is precisely it, without a shred of shame. Chung Hyo finds all of this weird though, as news about his clan's fall should have spread around by now. Kamen concurs, as even if Manticore and Gorgon are far from each other, it doesn't take a week for some news to spread. Yong notes that Jaehwan saved the fortress earlier, isn't that right? Chung Hyo explains that he already told him, that he defeated those from the Forbidden Heaven clan. That's when it all clicks, and he figures out what happened. The other two are surprised that the Forbidden Heaven clan actually was inside of Gorgon, but they did wonder what that ruckus was when it happened. Chung Hyo notes that, indeed, it was them, and in Yong's case, they were the ones that destroyed his clan. Isn't that right? Yong confirms that is as he says, but it wasn't only his clan that was destroyed. The third-ranked clan, the Dark Forest clan, and the rank one, the Heavenly Dragon clan, have also suffered the same fate, at the hand of the Forbidden Heaven clan. Hwang is utterly shocked by this, and Chung Hyo asks, "Does this mean that the Manticore fortress is gone?" Yong tells them that Manticore has been completely captured by the Forbidden Heaven clan when they attacked. Chung Hyo ponders all of the new information, and comes to the conclusion that information just can't be blocked for an entire week, unless something is done to the fortress itself, that is. So this means that the Forbidden Heaven clan has gotten complete and utter control over the skill system after taking Manticore, and blocked the messaging skill. Huang finds it hard to wrap his head around this, as 3 out of then clans were wiped overnight by just 1 clan. Kaiman notes that he heard rumors about the Forbidden Heaven clan growing in forces, but he didn't think that it would be to this extent. This is quite the surprise. Jaehwan asks if this means that the smaller the rank, the stronger the respective clan is. Yang stares at him and asks if he only realized it now, despite being the fortress master. This angers Jaehwan, and they all shiver while he emanates a terrifying aura. Yang tries to make up excuses but chooses to apologize and explain how it works to him, which calms Jaehwan down. Yang explains that in the whole of Chaos, there are 4 fortresses that are all ruled by 10 clans, although this should be common information. The 10 clans in Chaos aren't all the same, and thus they are ranked from 1 to 10. The strongest clan is on the top, rank 1, so there should be a stark difference between the first and the last clans. However, rank 9, Lighting God, rank 3, Dark Forest, and rank 1, Heavenly Dragon, have all been utterly destroyed by the Forbidden Heaven clan, that is at the bottom, rank 10. They even took Manticore with ease, and he doesn't have any real evidence of this, but he is certain that somebody is supporting them from the shadows. Jaehwan thinks about the Forbidden Heaven clan, as at first, he thought that they were just people who had the mare, but they tried to take over Gorgon, and actually managed to take Manticore. If they are willing to take fortresses, they might have the same goal as him. However, this makes him wonder if the mare that is at Manticore is accompanied by that person that guy mentioned in the past. Well, there is only one way to find out, so he will have to do something. Somewhere else entirely, someone's head gets cut off by a person who is standing on a throne, lamenting that they couldn't get the guardian horned beast. This person is the Forbidden Clan leader, Lim Jinhong. Inside of the same hall, 2 men report to Jinhong that the Heavenly Dragon clan leader has been successfully imprisoned, and all of his limbs have been severed. The Dark Forest clan leader is still fighting back with the few men he has left, but they are positive that he will fall soon enough. While he listens, Jinhong plays around with the head of the decapitated subordinate, and notes that he is pleased. But what about the capture of the Lightning God clan leader? One of them tries to say that they haven't gotten to him yet, and immediately gets a knife to the shoulder and falls down. The other apologizes for their insolence, and Jinhong notes that it's all right, but do they at least know where they ran to? The other says that it's most likely Gorgon, making Jinhong think that it's strange the clan leaders joined hands as soon as Manticore fell. But speaking about Gorgon, he has heard about a crazy bastard that wants to gather people for another Abyss expedition, which he finds to be insane. He can't believe that somebody else thinks like that. While they had much less forces than in Manticore when trying to conquer Gorgon, the first elder, Maihan, had put a lot of effort in the gathering of the foundation stones, so it's quite surprising that he actually failed. A big screen appears in his face and looks closer at Jaehwan, noting that he looks a bit similar, but he can't quite put his finger on it. That's when he gets a message from the Monarch of Pitch Darkness, who demands of him to look for the runaway product that escaped from a tower. Jinhong is a little mad that he is getting ordered around like this, but there is nothing he can do, so he orders his subordinates to tell everyone that they received the message first. This situation makes little sense to him, however, how some random product was actually able to kill a cultivator while in the tutorial, and came in to destroy the whole of Chaos. He puts another knife in the head of the guy he hit earlier, and notes that truly, it doesn't make sense at all. The remaining subordinate asks what they should do against the Lighting God clan, but Jinhong says that they should just leave him alone. Let all of the different clan leaders gather at Gorgon. It's actually better for them, as that place will soon be razed to the ground by an army of dead. He thinks about the extremely vile energy that seeped out of Gorgon a few weeks ago, and thinks that surely it came from the Soul King, Catastrophe. His energy disappeared quite quick, but what is scary isn't the descent, it's the fact that the dead can summon other dead. Those Gorgon bastards are about to find out just why Catastrophe is considered a disaster. While they sit in the training room, the group discuss about someone secretly backing the Forbidden Heaven clan. Yang notes that it might be one of the 12 Monarch of the Almighty Land, but the others find this impossible, as the Monarch usually don't meddle in chaos affairs. Huang says that he heard somewhere that the Almighty Land is currently having a war, so just maybe someone is trying to take advantage of this fact and get chaos involved. So how about they just try to contact the Resurrection Palace? Cayman is surprised by this suggestion, as the Resurrection Palace is a place that the monarch and 5 great clans revive. It is also the group who manages the fruits of chaos. In any case, however, if one of the 12 great monarchs are truly involved in this, it means that they broke their solemn treaty. Chung Hyo tells them that, in return for the fruits, the monarchs and the 5 great clans made a treaty of sorts and promised to never get involved in chaos affairs. Hwang says that they must contact them now, but Cayman notes that this is all a guess, and truly, he does not like to ask for help at all. Additionally, what would they do if they were all in it together? Chung Hyo asks Jaehwan what they need to do now, as Manticore has fallen and 3 of the clans are down. If they proceed with his original plan, it will mean war, surely. Jaehwan notes that they are enemies that they need to fight in the first place, so if they have to do so eventually, why not do them now? It seems that Jurhan told him Chung Hyo about Jaehwan's plans, and he pondered on the topic greatly. He says that if he's trying to unite chaos, it will be an insurmountable task, as getting all of the clans to submit to him seems like a pipe dream. Additionally, the Resurrection Palace is far stronger than any of the 10 clans, combined. No matter how strong he is, or how strong he will become, he can't just do things alone. A glisten of light shines through the hole in the ceiling, and Jaehwan notes that this is precisely why he is here, with him. Jaehwan looks confidently at Chung Hyo, who is extremely shocked by his answer. Jaehwan notes that, it is as he said earlier, he is inexperienced in many things, and has not lived a long enough life. But that doesn't really matter, since he is around. Chung Hyo blushes, and asks when he told him he would actually join the expedition too. Jaehwan stares at him once again, and asks if he really doesn't want to, something which moves Chung Hyo. He laments feeling what he's feeling right now, especially from a 60-year-old child no less. Jaehwan turns his attention to the group and tells them that, as they have heard previously, he's not simply trying to gather people for the Abyss expedition. First things first, he will be uniting the whole chaos. After that, he will be destroying the Resurrection Palace that stole the fruits they fought for over 900 years ago. Only then will they depart for the Abyss expedition, and what he needs most of all is true comrades who will go through this with him, all of it. If they do not feel that they can be up to the task, they should leave now, as he has no further need for them. Cayman asks if he intends to do it, even if he has nobody to help, and Jaehwan says that yes, he will do all of it by himself if he must. Cayman then asks, why? Didn't he say himself that he couldn't be able to do it alone if he had to? Jaehwan looks at him sternly, and notes that he made it all the way here only by himself, so being alone is something natural for him at this point. This shocked the 3 from the group, and they don't know how to answer to that. But suddenly, Cayman bursts out laughing, as he finds this extremely fun. He swears allegiance to his cause. He will follow him anywhere, be it the Abyss expedition or the Resurrection Palace. He will be there. Yong also does the same, and swears the same to him. After this is done with, they ask Hwang about what he will do, and he notes that he hasn't decided fully just yet. This surprises Cayman and disappoints Yong, who doesn't seem that impressed. Hwang screams at them, saying that his reaction is the normal one in this situation. How could they just join up with this guy without even knowing much about him? If he's honest, he just doesn't believe that he is actually capable of leading an expedition to the Abyss, as the enemies that he wants to presumably defeat are extremely strong, which is exactly why he hopes that he can prove himself capable of it. 6 out of the clan leader are now gone, so if he is acknowledged by the 3 other clan leader, he will acknowledge him too, and will also follow him anywhere. Jaehwan agrees instantly, as he doesn't need to think about it for long, but he also has a condition for this. If he needs to be acknowledged by them, then naturally they should also be acknowledged by him, right? So, he proposes this. A tournament, he will host it, and their titles as clan leaders will be on the line. If they all make it to the quarterfinals of the tournament, then he acknowledges them fully, and only then he will be taking their tests. Hwang is rather enraged by this, but Cayman notes that it does make sense, since he has no proof that they are the strongest in chaos, and he can't depend solely on their titles either. So when will this tournament of his be taking place? That's when a dark energy emanates from behind the door, and when it's opened, they see Yurin, who is very angry, as he has seen what Jaehwan put up on the walls. He notes that it already started, in a sense, as he has put flyers all around, announcing the tournament preliminaries. Later in the fortress, Yurin sighs deeply, and Jahir notes that he's sure their fortress master has a plan. Otherwise, he wouldn't have done that. Yurin doesn't know what this guy was thinking, as now the situation has become a lot worse. All of the relatively strong people in Chaos, and those who also want to see the fight, have swarmed the gates, and the outer fortress is already fully packed with people. Additionally, all of the inspection gates are having difficulty with confirming identities, so there's that. Carlton notes that he doesn't seem all too happy with Jaehwan's choice, but Yurin says that it's not that, but this is a matter of principles here, something which should be kept. Carlton asks if they can't just make a majority vote in cases of emergency, which the fortress master has to agree with, no matter what. Yurin notes that they could, because among the 5 inner tower leaders, those that would agree would be the 3 newly appointed leaders, so they would have more voting power. These 3 were chosen as leaders because 4 of the 5 tower leaders were slain during the incident with the Forbidden Heaven Clean, and the remaining one became severely injured and is now absent. Thus, they appointed 3 new leaders: Claire as the fiancé tower leader, Jahir as the security tower leader, and Carlton as the law tower leader, obviously. They could get their proposal approved with this much. However, he doesn't feel that Claire was a good choice, as what kind of financial know-how does a bar owner have? She doesn't realistically deserve to be in charge of the entire finance tower, he thinks. She looks at him dead in the eyes and notes that judging by his reaction, he disagrees with the choice of the new fortress master. But does he even know what kind of value will his choice create? Yurin asks what she means by that, and Claire notices that he has been looking down on her since she is a bar owner, but that's whatever at this point. She explains that if people gather, money will naturally also be there, and Gorgon is now filled to the brim, something which hasn't happened in years, because of this one tournament. She also asks if he knows where the tourney will be held, and he tells her that he hasn't found out just yet. She explains that it's at the northern outer fortress, where the street stall are. So, if he remembers, it's the street where everything was destroyed, because of the Forbidden Heaven clan. The residents, who lost their jobs, started repairing the streets, and are now working as tournament staff. Yurin didn't think about all of this, and only took the tournament into consideration, something which was foolish of him. She tells him that the amount of money they lost from the Forbidden Heaven clan incident was a gigantic 12.87 billion horen, so if the tournament is held for 2 days, she estimates that they will make a total of 13.28 billion horen, probably more, as she hasn't taken other things into account. Yurin is surprised by all of her knowledge, but Claire says that he shouldn't be, as she dealt with a lot of money in her previous life. It was her job, basically. She doesn't truly know what this fortress master wants to do, whether he wants to free them or just fight the entirety of Chaos. But she knows this, that he is going to change Chaos, no matter what. At the south of Chaos, in the Green Ocean, the Dryad Fortress stands, which was made by nature, purely out of the roots, and secretions from the plant-type guardian horned beast, also named Dryad, who would consume moisture from the Great Sea. The fortress master of this place, Aisha Lincroft, connects to the nature around her and feels that something is wrong, so she uses a top-level skill, Scout. With it, she sees far, far away and spots that there are countless dead going towards Gorgon, and one especially dangerous thing is the one in the front, which is one of the 3 great dead, the backwards walking Magritte. It's so powerful enough to detect that Aisha is looking at him, and it stares back with its deep eyes, which damages her, to the point where she bleeds from the mouth. Without much to do, she notes that at least she should inform the Gorgon Fortress Master, and sends a bird to do it. In the northern streets of Gorgon, the tournament is happening, and Shin Muguk, the Limitless clan leader, notes that this is progressing very fast, as they are down to the pre-quarterfinals, only in 3 days, at that. Chung Hyo comes next to him, and explains that this is so fast because everyone here is strong. They all raised hell, and killed tons of people during the preliminary rounds. They both greet each other after this, but that's when Chung Hyo notes that this guy grew in power, by quite a lot, so he compliments him for it. Muguk says that he also grew in power, but he was actually surprised to see him not in the competition, since he likes to fight so much. As for himself, He doesn't like dogfights like these and prefers actual matches. The fight beneath them continues, and Huang unleashes a mighty attack on his opponent. Afterwards, he thinks that he got him finally, but his opponent is actually high into the air and descends upon him with extreme force. When the dust clears, the stranger is the victor, and Huang loses the tournament right here. Muguk seems to know that technique the stranger is using, and Chung Hyo also thinks the same. It is the technique of the Steel Monarch, Heo Yu's own Azure Cloud Mystic footwork. They wonder why his subordinate would be in this place, but it's natural for the monarchs to be up to something regarding this competition. Jahir announces that with this match, the pre-quarterfinals have ended, and they will now be moving on to the quarterfinals, the thing that everyone has been waiting for. The next competitor comes out of the waiting room, the Savant clan leader, Jaegal Myung. He looks at Chung Hyo and blinks as a greeting, something which annoys him greatly, but Muguk tells him to let it go, as he is only a 400-years-old kid after all. Jaehwan is this man's opponent, and when they get face-to-face, Myung says that he has heard about his grand plans, but thinks that what he is trying to achieve is impossible. Muguk analyzes this new fortress master deeply, and wonders if he can win against Myung, since he is quite young. That's when he notices that his energy isn't that much different from Chung Hyo's, and asks if he's by chance his disciple. Chung Hyo smiles, and in that second, the fight ends with Myung being thrown into the wall. Chung Hyo notes that a monster like that one can't have a master, he is his own. Myung, who is surprisingly still conscious, thinks that, in the quarterfinals, he didn't have an opponent in the list, but later one, when he found out that his opponent was the fortress master, he thought that he struck gold, since he joined this awfully barbaric competition for the sake of warning the fortress master about what is going to come. This happened once in the past too. There were others who got people hopeful, and had expectations about getting their lives back, even though they were lost. However, a hope that can't come true brings about something much worse, utter despair. This is why he needs to crush that hope in advance, so that people are exempt from this despair, just like he has done for the last 400 years. So he can't, or rather mustn't, admit defeat. If he does so, the last 300 years of his existence would have been for nothing. He notes that he said that this tournament will be held within one-on-one fight, but he didn't say what kind of one-on-one fight. Jaehwan remembers that indeed he didn't specify, but what does that have to do with anything? Myung says that he would like to have another type of fight with him, a battle of wits. Wouldn't it be fair if he were to fight on his own terms? The public doesn't like this, and they all call him a coward, someone who can't admit defeat. Chung Hyo notes that he already knew this guy would be doing something like this, and Muguk says that if it's a battle of wits they will be fighting, it will be hard to know who will win. Chung Hyo tells him that he will probably suggest that they play that awful game that the military advisors like to play all the time. Jaehwan asks what kind of battle of wits is he talking about, and Myung takes this as him accepting the challenge. The area slowly shifts around them, and now the ground is an entire field. The system welcomes him to the military strategy formation world and asks him if he would like to read the manual, as he seems to be a beginner. Myung explains that the formation world is just a fancy title for this type of game. It is said that it was made by one of the 13 masters, a mayor by the name of Maris. He used a certain game which had the title of Frontier as inspiration for this game, and the strategists of the Almighty Land enjoy playing it quite a bit. Also, he is the best at it in Chaos, which he doesn't tell Jaehwan, naturally. He also adds that he will give him some time, since he has never played this type of thing before. But Jaehwan refuses, as it's simpler than he thought, and he thinks he got it. In actuality, he knows the game that the mayor used as inspiration. A strategy game, where its main scenario would be a war between 3 races, and they would have to gather resources and train troops all in real time so that they can destroy the enemy buildings, which is the victory condition. He already knows of a game that is exactly like this. That Frontier game that was the inspiration is most definitely that game he knows from Earth. The one that everyone played. He probably has more than 10,000 matches in it, but just who are these mayors to know about something like this? Myung asks if it's okay to use the Lost Garden terrain, and Jaehwan accepts. With that, they both choose their races, with Jaehwan picking humans and Myung picking undead. He thinks that the humans are quite literally the weakest out of all the races, so even though this child is arrogant, he is still just a novice at this game. The undead race he chose will get stronger as the game progresses, and it also has better units in the early to mid-game too. After he trains a few workers, he will build, establish a foundation, and win by amassing tons of troops. Before he can even think of doing that, however, Jaehwan goes on the attack with his villagers and easily takes out some undeads. This makes him mad, and he asks Jaehwan what he's doing. Why is he attacking with his farmers? That's when notices he also made 3 watchtowers near his base, which provides his units with a clear advantage and also with protection, since the watchtower is a defense building. But he can't just take out the watchtowers, as the farmers, who have the strongest stamina out of all the starter units, will interfere. So he basically at a standpoint now. He is helpless because he has to stop him. He can't since he didn't have the time to gather resources or build anything for that matter. Jaehwan thinks that this is a rather common strategy in Korea, as it has a lot of destructive power, and it's very efficient. It was also a strategy that people would criticize, even more so if a contestant used it in a tournament. The people watching cheer for Jaehwan, while Myung's whole scope of the game disappears. Now enraged, he asks how he could do something like this. Is it not common etiquette to not attack each other for the first 10 minutes of the game? Jaehwan wonders what he's talking about, and Myung explains that normally, people would use the first 10 minutes to build buildings, gather resources, and things of the nature. Jaehwan notes that if it's not a direct rule for the game, then it doesn't matter what he does, right? Myung falls to his knees in front of him and bites his lower lip roughly. He thinks, just who the hell is this man? He defies common sense and logic in every way, and also plays outside of the predetermined rules set in place. Because of this combined, there is nothing that he can do to reduce the amount of difference between their abilities. This man is just somebody that he cannot hope to beat, ever. But maybe it's for the better, as for the past 400 years, he has been waiting for this, for someone who could fulfill their hopes. With that, he admits defeat, and the first round of the quarterfinals comes to an end. While Jaehwan rests from his battle, Muguk and Chung Hyo descend from the public seats, and Chung Hyo asks him where he learned to play that strategic formation world, as he thought the only thing he truly cared about was practicing his thrusting abilities. However, since the spiral slash technique he used in the fight is partly inspired by his own slash, it is kind of inaccurate to say that he is really only interested in thrusting. Jaehwan plays back what happened and wonders what spiral slash he is talking about, as when they discovered the technique, Chung Hyo desperately wanted it to be called spiral slash, as to him, that sounded the best, but Jaehwan told him that he only uses thrusts. Chung Hyo kept insisting and insisting, and that's when Kaiman came up with a grand idea for the name. Both thrusts and slashes kill their enemies, of course, so they should name it Fatal Spiral. Jaehwan notes that this is what they decided to call it in the end, and Chung Hyo is very surprised that he actually got to keep that name instead of his more cooler, better one. Jaehwan takes a look at Muguk and says that he looks very strong, so they should spar for a bit. Muguk notes that his introductions are a little rough for someone so young, and Chung Hyo told him already that this guy doesn't respect his elders, but rather attacks them. Jaehwan sighs and explains that all of the old men in here are not weak in the slightest. They are all very strong, comes with the age. There is no real need to be nice to all of these geezers. While Chung Hyo chews Jaehwan up for his words, Muguk looks at him and thinks that for the first time in over 900 years, after the Abyss expedition was destroyed, this is his first time seeing Chung Hyo enjoy a conversation this much. While Mullark was the captain of the expedition 900 years ago and gave the whole chaos hope and dreams, in the end, even though they all tried desperately, all that remains of that once great leader is a symbol of despair and dust. He wonders how Jaehwan would do against Mullark. Will he even be capable of replacing him? Based on the last fight in this tourney, he is extremely strong and might actually be or become better than Mullark, considering his very large potential. However, another key part to leading is personality. He does not feel any righteousness from him, and truly, he feels like the opposite of Mullark, who was gentle and very mature. Additionally, he has felt a strange bloodlust all of the time he has been next to him. Suddenly he feels a strange and ominous energy from behind, as the eye from the true world is looking at him intently. He tries to look back as swiftly as he can, but the energy disappears the moment he does so. He asks Chung Hyo telepathically if he is an awakened, who notes that indeed he is, It took him a while to notice. He is a completely awakened person, through and through. Jaehwan announces that the next quarterfinals match is about to begin soon, and Chung-hyo tells Jaehwan, who starts climbing the stairs to the arena immediately. Chung-hyo asks what he is going to do, since it is not his turn yet. Muguk ponders him being a complete awakened, and Jaehwan notes that all of this waiting around for the rounds and stuff is just wasting everyone's time. Muguk wonders if he has surpassed the third stage of awakening, and Jaehwan stands proudly in the arena. Chung-hyo looks at him with a puzzled look, and wonders what this bastard intends to do this time. The contestants arrive, and Jaehwan begins analyzing them. Among these people, excluding Kaiman and Yong, these three new faces look pretty strong from here, especially this one, the woman with the chain sickle. There is just something about her that even Question can't even hope to figure out. Just who is she? Jaehwan comes next to him and notes that it is not his turn yet, so what is he doing here? The reporters and other news outlets rush to see what the Fortress Master will say as he grabs Jaehwan's microphone. He tells everyone to listen very carefully, as he has seen enough of the participants' strength, and he knows where they all stand. Since it's getting very boring to constantly watch others fight from the sidelines, he was thinking of changing how this competition will go from now on. One of the contestants steps up and asks what he is doing. This is the priestess clan leader, Ja Gukryong. She asks who allowed him to do so as he pleases, and why is he only changing the format of this competition now. Jaehwan tells her that he is canceling the one-on-one fight rule, and Gukar asks if he's basically asking them to fight in groups. Jaehwan says that it's basically like that, and she tells him that something like this will not do, as if they split the participants into teams. How will they decide who wins? Jaehwan notes that she clearly misunderstood him and explains it to her. He is not saying that they should do something so complicated like splitting the teams. There is just one team. The 6 of them will become a team, and he will be alone. This announcement shocks everyone, and Jaehwan properly announces, yes, he will be fighting all of them at once, and alone. He promises, to the first one that strikes him down, the position of Fortress Master. The crowd bursts into cheering, and the news outlets announce that this is a chance for their new Fortress Master to show just how strong he truly is. The woman with the sickle laughs, and notes that this is good. Finally, something interesting is about to happen. After Jaehwan announces what he needs, he throws the microphone back to Jaehwan, and thinks that now, what he needs the most right now, is the trust of the common people. The deeper the connection he has with them, the more trust he gains, and over time, they will all develop a depth in this. However, in a situation such as this one, where there is not much time, there is another way to gain trust. That way is to show overwhelming strength. One of the contestants, a woman with long hair, gets up and close to him, at the shock of everyone around there. She notes that he is quite likable, and it would be much of a waste to slay him now. With that, she leaves him, and notes that she will be giving up today. While she walks away, Jaehwan wonders why she did that. In terms of numbers, they all had a clear advantage, so why did she just decide to give up like this? She whispers enough for Jaehwan to hear. It's troublesome to do, and soon, that will appear. So there is no need to do anything. Jaehwan wonders what she means, but before he can ask, Yong also gives up, as he cannot hope to defeat the current Fortress Master with his abilities. Jaehwan thinks that he is doing all of this in order to become his subordinate and save face. Kaiman clenches his fist and also gives up. He acknowledges that his current abilities wouldn't even be able to move the current Fortress Master. Jaehwan thinks that Kaiman is doing this because of his sense of fairness, as he wouldn't like to go 4 against 1. What a useless fellow. However, this means that even if he wins against these 3, it wouldn't give him a satisfying result. Gukar says that this is quite a pity, as it seems that this is not what he planned, or expected for that matter. Jaehwan notes that this is not perfect, but still, he is okay with the 3 of them attacking all at once. Gukar says that his arrogance truly is boundless, and also, it seems that all of the others left to help him save face. Using Question, Jaehwan can hear what they are talking about telepathically. The vice leader of the clan notes that this is their chance to teach this fool a lesson, as no matter how strong he is, he cannot hope to endure all of their attacks. Gukar asks her to hold her anger back. Has she truly forgotten that they are not here to fight with the Fortress Master? Jaehwan eagerly listens to their conversation, and wonders what they are here to do, if not fight him. Gooker asks the other person, Hai Young, what she will do, and she notes that she will be continuing to observe them. Gooker asks who is behind the Forbidden Heaven clan, for the Steel Monarch to make his move in such a crude way, but Hai Young says that she cannot answer that. She just hopes that they can do a good enough job with that they asked. Gooker's face contorts after hearing this, but with nothing else to do, she asks what needs to be done. Hai Young explains that they need to personally know the Fortress Master, and Jaehwan thinks that basically, the other person is using her as a pawn to see how useful he truly is. With her mission set, Gooker explains that she has no intention to fight him now, but that doesn't mean that she surrenders. Even if they have no intention to fight him, that doesn't mean they will raise their white flag. She is only saying that they are voluntarily joining the Abyss expedition, all three of them. The other people look at this with a serious and questioning expression, while Jaehwan asks what kind of schemes they are really up to. Gooker assures him that this is no scheme. If this journey truly is to bring back life to the people of Chaos, there is no need for schemes. The public starts to become restless, as there is no fighting going on, which is boring. Gooker notes that, since they got this far, he should also be honest, he had no intention of giving up the Fortress Master position to any of them in the first place, right? That would be only natural, because this competition wasn't to choose new Fortress Master in the first place. It was hosted to recruit people for the Abyss expedition. She can't lie, she was very impressed with his method too, because after the Abyss expedition failed 900 years ago, nobody would dare plan something this grand. However, because of this, she is proud to be standing in this arena with him, and she is sure that goes for the rest of the people here too. Now, she is speaking to everyone, as she knows they aren't here because they are interested about the position of Fortress Master. She removes her face cover, and her emerald eyes widen as she rises into the air, and countless butterflies appear. She notes that she would like to hear his true thoughts about all of this, and the crowd's eyes glisten purple as they are slowly being bewitched by her eyes. Gooker asks, is the reason that they are all here because of the fight that is going on, or for the future and life of Chaos? She would like to believe that Chaos has not forgotten about their dreams. The skill that she is using now is called the Righteous Eye, and it slowly bewitches the spectators to believe that they also need to know about it. Jaehwan notices this, and wonders if he should just end things here with a single attack. But that's when an elderly man puts his hands up, as he agrees with the priestess clan leader. He did not come from all of the way north, just to see some fights. The people recognize this man as the gentleman's sword, who doesn't carry any affiliations. However, judging by their smiles, it seems that now, he has at least one allegiance. Jaehwan's face turns sour, as this has become extremely annoying. Carlton walks around the fortress, checking to see if everything is all right. But that's when he notices some strange sounds from the office. When he opens the doors, he sees a messenger eagle, and walks towards it, wondering when it came, as the office has been empty for quite a while. The messenger eagle notices him, and relays the message it was given, something which shocks him to his very core. A group of dead, including a mega-dead, is approaching Gorgon, and fast, from the Druid Fortress Master. Carlton looks out of